Mallory here. It's my first time going live in the group, so we'll see how this goes. I think it's working. If I go in my group, does it show me as live? Oh, I'm there. I see me. Okay, so I'll get started. I had a really big, I had a giveaway a few days ago where I asked people for questions that I can answer. So now at least I have something to talk about while I'm live. I'm still getting used to this whole thing. My hair is kind of a mess, but I put on red lipstick. Pro tip, if you put on red lipstick, you automatically look fancier, no matter how bad the rest of your makeup is. So, I tried for you. And I'm here, I've got my big giant head behind me, a really cheap copy of the Necronomicon from Evil Dead, and then I have my Girl Boss feminist t-shirt, because I live for feminist t-shirts. And I have my paperback copies of Dangerous Thief. I have the right ones. This is one of the wrong, my misfit copies is what I've been calling them. That have the wrong title on the side. The Beautiful Thief. He is beautiful, but he's mostly dangerous. And if you haven't been seeing all my emails and Facebook posts, Dangerous Thief, James Weston, is based on Tom Hardy. Willa is based off of the actress who plays Thea in Arrow. The misfit copies. Hi, Leanna. Hi, Jen. And Mary, I saw you were watching too. Hello, Mary. So, yeah, I'm really excited about the book. It's been getting pretty good reviews so far. I know a lot of people are really hoping for Scott and Tony's story. I was at a writing conference with Liliana Hart was running, and she mentioned, like, if you want readers to follow a book, you introduce a couple early on and let them slow burn for a while. So, Scott and Tony were my kind of slow-burning couple. And I just hit 20,000 words in their book today. So it's going good so far. They need to get steamier, and they need to get steamier fast, but I'm not too worried about that. He's about to actually punch a guy in the face for her. So I think anytime you have two guys fighting over a girl, things just get better already. Okay, enough about the Reluctant Thief. I want to get into some of the questions that I was asked. Sorry, I'm talking, but I'm also kind of reading the comments, so if I get distracted, that's why. Mary asked the first question, how do I plan my books? Do I pre-write or let the words take me where I want? I never used to plan anything. I just sit down and write and see where it went. I've been reading from a very young age. I've been reading romance specifically from a very young age, maybe since I was 12 or 13. Squirrel! I just saw Tiffany's comment. And so I feel like because I've read romance, and I've almost exclusively read romance for so long, I kind of naturally craft stories in that arc, which is a really good benefit for me. But lately I've been writing very quickly. I wrote 6,000 words today, which back when I first started was more than I'd write in an entire week. And I wrote that between like 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. today. It's exhausting and it's not easy, but it's a skill I've been working on cultivating. And so when you do speed writing like that, I do need to have a better idea of where I'm going, especially with this Stolen Heart series where it's much more intricate and interconnected than my books have been in the past. So I do plan out more, but not as much as other writers do. Hold on. Someone just came into my house. I'm doing a Facebook Live video. They're getting Taco Bell, so if you want Taco Bell, message them. If you guys want Taco Bell, you can't have Taco Bell. I'm sorry. I can't have Taco Bell either. I ate all my food already. Taco Bell's my favorite food. Okay, second question. Do I listen to music when I write? No, I don't. I have a really strange habit. I can't write with nothing going on because I get very distracted and Facebook will just suck me in. Or the internet will suck me in. But so what I do is I put on a very boring documentary on one side of my laptop, and on my other side I have my Word document open. So it's just enough to keep me distracted, but it's not enough to actually get me interested. Like, I've been watching Project Runway lately at home, but I can't watch that when I'm writing because it's very visual. And if I take my eyes off my Word document for too long, I can't focus on it. So, yeah, lately I've been watching The Nightmare Next Door. It's an investigation discovery show on Hulu. There are like 80 episodes. Or like Forensic Files. I watch a lot of like weird drug documentaries. I don't know. I don't know anyone else who has a writing method like that, but it works for me. Hi, Katie. Katie? Hello. Heather has one of the most adorable dogs I've ever seen. Asked, do I put any characteristics of family or friends into a book? No. I name characters after people I know all the time, but not as often characteristics. Maybe I just know a lot of boring people. Like, my mom and brother are all awesome and disgustingly boring, and I say that in the best possible way. The villain in one of my books, Ken Kemmerling, was a boss at the manufacturing firm I worked with. And when I told everyone I was quitting to be a full-time romance author, he asked if he could be a character, and I'm like, sure. And he's like, can I die? And I go, well, people in my books don't normally die. So he's like, well, can I be a villain? So I made him a villain, and he died. Spoiler. Sorry. What inspired me to start writing? Nothing. I've always had stories in my head. I thought it was normal for a long time. When I found out other people didn't, I was like, oh. And I thought I was going crazy because I had so many stories in my head. I remember I was a huge Buffy fan, and I was watching Angel, and I just hated the direction of Angel the entire time. So I just started making better storylines in my head for the show. But I've always, as I said, I've been reading romance novels specifically since I was maybe 12 years old. So I've always kind of had romance-driven stories in my head since I was, 12 or 13. Yes, Spike is the best. Do I need to show my picture of me with James Marsters again? Because I'll take that out. Oh, hold on. I think I have it. I have Spike close by at all times. Okay. I'm distracted by Spike. Squirrel. Do I have a set routine? My routine changes relatively frequently. The past few books I've written, I've actually left my house and gone to the library, and that's where I'll sit with like the documentary on half my screen and my Word document on the other half, and I'll write for like 1,000 words in 30 minutes, and I'll take a break. And I don't always hit that goal, but it keeps me writing pretty fast, and it works pretty well. When I do those really fast writing sprints, I usually have an energy drink to keep me going. I don't drink coffee. So energy drink is how I get my caffeine, but I try not to drink them every day. It's just if I'm having a really high word count day. Anything else around me? No. Water. I drink a lot of water, and then I pee a lot, and it's very distracting. I'm sorry. That's TMI. Hashtag no filter. Haha. How did I decide to do a shapeshifter paranormal? How do you not write a shapeshifter paranormal? Like, if you read paranormal romance, and I do, like, you're just gonna do shapeshifter. It's just natural. I have no other answer for that. I've been reading, I think my first paranormals I remember reading are Christine Feehan. Hi, Melody! And they're vampires, but they're shapeshifters. And so I've read a lot of shapeshifter romances in my time. How many books have I written? A lot. I'll see you later, Jen. Over 20. I've written a lot. They're not all that long, though, so I don't know. Kind of evens out. Hi, Heather. Heather, I complimented your dog earlier in the video, so you'll have to go back and watch it if you missed it. And hi, Ricky. Yeah, I've written so many books, I've lost count. So that's how many I've written. Do I take any real life interactions and put them in my books? I know that one of the villains in my books I named after a troll on Facebook who was annoying me. I can't remember who right now, but I'm sure if I see the name I will. Because he was being kind of douchey. And I was like, that's a douchey name. I'm writing him in my book and I'm going to kill him. And then I did. But right now nothing's coming to mind. I I don't know. I only have one really crappy ex, and it's kind of too. I hold grudges for a very long time, so I think it's still too personal to put in my book. I have a funny story about the guy who plays Jesus in The Walking Dead cut in front of me to sing karaoke this weekend. It wasn't his fault. The guy from karaoke called him up, but I think I'm going to hold a grudge against him for the rest of my life. His name is Tom Paine. Every time I saw him for the rest of the weekend, I was like, screw you, Tom Paine. One day someone told me, you know, Mallory Crowe hates you. And he'll be like, who the hell is Mallory Crowe? Fun times. Okay, I'm going through these faster than I thought I would. I have a friend who's an author. It's from Janelle. I have a friend who's an author and said that her books write themselves and she's often surprised when a book doesn't go where she thought it would. Is that an issue for me, or do my books go the way I planned? My books mostly go the way I planned. I beat my characters into submission. Although sometimes, if I'm having a bad day, I don't consider myself much of an artist. I like to consider myself like a businesswoman. But then I'll talk about my writing process to my friends, and they'll be like, no, you're totally an artist. Because sometimes if I'm stressed or I don't know where to go, I literally close my eyes and just write and see where it goes. So yes, overall the characters do what I want them to do, but sometimes not necessarily in the way I want them to do it. And I don't think that actually answers your question at all. You're welcome. Do I have the story or the characters first? The characters. I always have the characters first, and I'll say this 1,000 times. It doesn't matter what your plot is. If you have good characters, it's going to solve the rest of the plot. I think there's a good blend of both. I got distracted because I saw Tiffany's question. Are you a gardener, architect, or a nice balance of both? I'm not going to lie, I don't know what those words mean. Architect, build a story, or gardeners plant a story. Can you elaborate? And I'll see if I can catch your explanation. What's my favorite character to write about? Usually the female heroine. I don't know, I wish the guys were my favorite. I always try to get the guys to be my favorite because I feel like guys sell books and the heroines don't. The word I've written the most, just. I write just all the time. Oh, I'm a gardener. It just comes. I used to never outline it. As I think I mentioned earlier, I used to never outline at all. I only outline now because I write so fast and I have more intricate plots throughout the books. So I kind of have to have some interconnections. But even now my outlines are super short. It's a few fragment of a sentences in an Excel spreadsheet because I'm the quintessential nerd and I outline in Excel. So the favorite character I've ever written, I'm kind of enjoying Tony because she's a huge smartass. I'm enjoying kind of playing with that, and I'm trying to make sure that comes out. I just wrote a scene today where she was working out and she's not athletic at all, and she just kind of lays down on a mat and she's like, well, this is where I live now. This mat's my home. I hope this mat has Wi-Fi. And I'm writing it and I was like, I think that's funny, and I don't always think that when I write things, so I'm enjoying her. Renee asked, do I ever start from the question, what if? No, my stories always start from characters, because usually all of my books are a character in an earlier book. My first contemporary romance was Teaching the Boss, and you can trace each the character train through there. At the end of each series, I set up the next series going on. Those teaching, teasing, and tempting the boss are very loosely connected, but they're all connected, and it goes on. So I've always started my series with a particular character in mind. Like Austin, Miles, and Scott Hart were both in the Fractured Feral series. Series or standalone, which is easy to write. I just wrote my first series at the Bewitching Hour. Hold on, I have it. I have props ready. That's how prepared I am. The Bewitching Hour is my first series ever where it actually continues on through multiple books. It goes on for 5 books. I think standalone's easier. I tend to write very short. All my books tend to be a little bit shorter. It's really easy for me. I don't do a lot of interior dialogue. Things move super fast. I don't have like 15 pages describing how someone feels. It's a lot of action. So in general, that's easier for me. But this was a really fun experiment. If you read The Bewitching Hour, what's really cool about it is the secondary characters get so much more time and building. And there's this really like the world building for building up the second one. The secondary characters is really cool, and Claire is awesome, and Claire is going to get her own series. You're hearing it here first, so shh. Most read genre is my contemporary. You know, I wish these sold better. I'm going to keep writing them, but my focus will always be on my contemporary romantic suspense. Oh Lord, I got distracted. Just go the way I planned. I like characters, favorite characters. Which one of my male characters would I love to have? Well, I just set up... What's cool about The Reluctant Thief, which I'm writing right now, is not only am I kind of tying up all the Murray family women's stories, but I'm setting up like the next 4 books in the series. So I'm introducing all these super hot guys, and these are the ones that you guys helped me with. So you guys helped me pick the names, which is Slade, Gage, Hunter, and Tristan. But you've also helped me pick who they're based off of, which is Matt Bromer, Alex McLaughlin, Sam, the hot guy from Outlander, whose last name I can't say. I can't say names. Forgive me. And Chris Pine is one. So I'm really digging them. Like, I just had Tony playing a poker game with 3 of them, and it was kind of introducing them. And Tristan, like, wins all the card games, and Hunter's kind of quiet. And Gage, who's Chris Pine. So I think right now, Gage, because I like Chris Pine a lot. And I like the name Gage, and I like the character I'm writing. So, hi, Misty. Go back to work. Stop watching Facebook. So yeah, if I could pick a character right now, it would be him, but it probably would change on a weekly basis. So I'm a fickle. I'm a book boyfriend. I don't think there's a nice word. I'm a book boyfriend slut. But I'm loyal to my husband. Do I have a celebrity or model in my head when I describe my heroes and heroines? I never used to, but I've been doing a big push for that the last few books because I think that you guys as fans really like to have that connection. And I think it's kind of, you know, just cool. Like, hey, this is my Tom Hardy character. Or, hey, this is my Chris Pine character. I don't know. It's like, it's fun. I usually have very little description in my head at all. So it gives me a little bit of focus. Would I rather write from hero or villain point of view? Hero. I'm more comfortable with hero. In one of my Bewitching Hour books, though, the villain was very, like, Valley Girl-esque, and she was a lot of fun to write. Ricky, Jason Momoa intimidates me. Him and Chris Hemsworth. I feel like it'd be really hard to do a Jason Momoa character justice. I'm not saying never. I'm just saying not right now. I have no idea how long we've gone. It doesn't say. I'm just going to keep going. Do characters talk and pop up when I write? Yes. They talk and pop up at random times of the day. I'll be at the gym on the treadmill talking to myself. I walked into the bathroom at the library today talking to myself. Hugwin. Sam Hugwin. Hugh Digwin with that one. How much say do I have in cover images? I have all the say because I publish myself. But I give very little direction when I do covers. I pretty much just ask, give me something that's pretty and will sell. Hewin. Hewin. Can you believe I'm a writer? I can't read. Hewin. Sam Hewin. I think I got it. Now I'll never forget it. I said it like 15 times on live video. Yeah, I have a really good cover designer. I could have a lot more say, but I really trust her judgment. And I say, you know, this is what I need. This is what the book is about. And I even told her, you know, if the heroine doesn't look exactly right, that's okay. Like, and this one, I love this cover so much. The girl kind of has like short, slightly reddish hair. Sam actually has like longer, dark blue hair, but she looked so cool. Like, how can you get upset with that? I don't think it's really going to affect anyone's perception all that much. And obviously with this one, I don't have to worry about characteristics, so it was nice and easy to do these covers. Do I base characters on people I know? Not really. No. Once again, I just think I need to meet more interesting people. I named a character. I name characters off people I know all the time. Like, during the Fractured Ferals? Yeah, Fractured Ferals. Like, I named them all off people in my writing group. Like, Jean, Callie, Evelyn, Julie. So that's Fractured Ferals and the Devereaux, I guess, but... Any characters I wish I'd written differently? No. Once I have them down on paper, it's crazy. The stories just leave my head and it's done. So, yeah. I don't know. I wish I was more, like, detail-oriented, where I would kind of worry a bit more about it, but it's one of the things that helps me write so fast is how I'm not a perfectionist, and I don't go back over things 15 times and think about how it could be better. Like, once it's out of my head, it's out of my head. Editing is actually like a strange form of torture for me, because once I write it down, I don't really want to dwell on it that much. Like, the story's over and my mind's like moving on to the next thing. Am I inspired by people watching? I am inspired by people watching. Like, I love doing it. I love thinking about it, but I very rarely... Hi, Teddy. I'm looking forward to you reading my books, too. But I don't know. I don't remember the last time I saw someone like, I'm writing them into a book. Partially because I'm normally like, the next few days of stuff are already pretty cemented in my mind what I'm going to do. And by the time I start writing, I usually forget about the people watching I did. Sandy asked if I listen to music when I write. I touched on this briefly earlier. I don't listen to music. I do watch like random documentaries that are just boring enough that I'm not paying that much attention, but interesting enough that I'm not leaving to go surf Facebook or anything. Okay. Questions. Do I dream about what I write prior to writing it? No, I don't dream about what I write. I did have a really cool email that went around a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if you guys are on my email list, where I had a almost wet dream. That was really weird and it was really hot, but I woke up before anything happened. I was really upset. I was like, no, go back to sleep. Let's finish this. I went back to sleep, but it did not get finished. I wish I had better dreams. John Barrowman. Tiffany, you saw my picture with John Barrowman, right? He touched my leg. But my arm was moving when they took the picture. I was trying to put it on my hip so I looked all skinny. But it was like halfway to my hip, so I look like I'm doing like the single ladies dance. Teddy asked how I started writing. I was younger. I had graduated college, I got married, I got a house, and I passed the CPA exam. And then I finally, I'd wanted to write since high school. But I'm like, no, I need to be an adult. So once I was like an adult, then I sat down and wrote a book. Ricky's bragging about dreaming about Chris Hemsworth. I wish I had better dreams like that. If I could pick any author to write a book with, who would it be? Liliana Hart. I have a huge girl crush on Liliana Hart. When I first self-published, I listened to this one seminar she gave on repeat, and she had a conference last year I went to, and I fangirled over her. I feel like she's really business-minded, and I'm really business-minded, so I feel like our personalities would mesh. I feel like she's slightly antisocial, and I'm slightly antisocial, and I kind of see her, I'm like, let's be best friends, except she makes a lot more money than I do. But she actually tagged me in a new release post yesterday, because we had a book that came out the same day, so I'm on her radar, and I got kind of geeked out about that. I was like, Liliana Hart tagged me in a post, and I haven't even liked the post yet, because I'm like, well, if I like it too fast, she's going to think I'm desperate. These are random thoughts that go through my head. but it's on my list today. It's like, if you noticed, I haven't liked anything that's been commented on today, even though I've been posting like crazy, because I wrote 6,000 words, and I went to the gym, and then I came home and I was super hangry, so I got some food in me, and now I'm doing this. So I can actually start interacting with all my Facebook stuff after this video is over. So that's an author I would like to work with, is Liliana Hart. Have I ever struggled with writer's block? That's actually one of the questions on my list too. Not like where I've had a month where I couldn't write. Yeah, I have tough days, and I always give the same advice. You just have to write. You know, Nora Roberts has this great. I saw Nora Roberts give a talk at RWA a few years ago, and she had one of my favorite quotes ever. And she said, "There is no fucking muse." Her words. She's really short, and she cusses a lot, and she smokes a lot, and she's amazing. And she's really funny, and she's like, you know, you can't just sit there and wait for the muse to come along, because it doesn't exist. You just have to go. And so if I have really bad writer's block, like sometimes my battery's running low. So if I'm having a bad day of writing, I just have to write. What I write that day might suck, but it will get me to the next part of the book that will not suck. And then hopefully during editing I can fix things. I'm going to plug in my phone, but it's going to mess with my really nice angle I had set up. I guess I can just hold my phone. So it's going to be shaky. Oh, pause the video. I think I'm still live. Do I dream about writer's block? Here, I asked my about writer's block too, so that was that. Jody asked what my favorite color is. I don't have a favorite color. I don't know. Black, purple, red, whatever lipstick I'm wearing at the time. I have lipsticks in almost every color. Black's a good color. Teddy says, loves book of the series. Have I done a series? Well, all of my books are kind of series. My contemporaries, like this, is a standalone. So there's a happily ever after at the end of it, but it's interconnected with all the books before it. So like this is one of 3 sisters. Book 3 is not about a sister, but Willa demanded her story come first. Melody, you had a good guess. Whereas this is a series that actually follows the same characters through multiple books. So I have done series. Do I live out any of the fantasies in my books? Like sex? I don't know. I have a decent sex life, I like to think. My characters aren't all that adventurous. I think it's funny because people say that I write steamy romance, and I feel like compared to some other people, my books are relatively tame, but it is definitely explicit, so I can't argue when people call me steamy. I feel like steamy sells better. Like, I once tried to write, have I told you the story? I tried to write my Cross Falls saga. That was my failed attempt to write erotica. Failed because I think it's good. I just don't, like, it just ended up not having a lot of sex. I wrote the entire story was based along them having sex in the first, like, 10 pages. Because she goes to this guy's house, she thinks it's her ex-boyfriend, and they have sex, and she finds out it's his twin brother, and she didn't know he had a twin. And that's, like, the setup of the entire book. But then, like, it was a 3-part novella series, like 20,000 words each, and, yeah, they only have sex, like, once in each of the sections, which is pretty much my normal pace. I don't know. I don't plan books around sex scenes, so it just kind of happened that way. So that's my failed attempt at erotica. Can I name an author I began reading and turned you onto standalones with tie-ins? I don't know. A lot of the paranormals. Sherilyn Kenyon, Christine Feehan. I read a lot of paranormal when I was in high school. Gina Showalter, Cressley Cole. I'm sure Jane Ann Krantz had some. Yeah. Do I use an outline? Kind of. I use very sparse outlines now that I write more complex books. Morel asked, how do I come up with a plot? Do they just pop up in my head? Yeah, they just pop up in my head. I don't know how I come up with plots. It's a gift and a curse. I literally always have stories in my head. I usually have a different story once a week, so I can kind of weed out the bad ones and pick the ones I want to focus on. And once again, they're character driven. Like, I knew I wanted to do Tony and Scott, and I knew that they're going to be taking on Sterling. And then I kind of decided I wanted to introduce new characters. And so those kind of puzzle pieces all just ended up falling into place for the plot that I have. With Willa and James, I knew that he was going to be taking her out in the desert. He really wasn't going to like her because she's super annoying. And then I realized, like, them being alone in the desert, the entire book was going to be super boring. So at some point, I knew that she needed to leave the desert. And I was like, well, it's really hot when an alpha chases the girl. Like, she leaves and he chases her. So I really liked that scene where, she falls on her ass off the chair. Like, that was, like, one of the big scenes I had in my head when I was thinking of the story. And so it just kind of evolved. And I kind of knew that Jaden Belly was going to be in it. So she kind of evolved to be his daughter. And so, like, the plot just kind of evolve from things that I want to do in the books. Favorite character? I don't have a favorite character. Usually whichever ones I'm writing. It's like whenever someone asks what my favorite book is, it's always the book I've written last. Like, I feel like I improve with every book. I like to hope I improve with every book. Okay, we're reaching the end here. Oh, Connie's in awe of my talent. When I have my story and I start writing, where do I begin? I write pretty linear. I start at the beginning and I end with the end. When I start plotting, as I said, I start with characters and it just builds from there. Oh, I'm all flattered. I get really flustered when I get compliments. I know Mary commented on something a few days ago that she would like to have a picture with me. And I was in awe of how sweet that was, that I literally just never replied to it. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. I don't know how to reply. And then I just never did. It's on my list of things to do, though. Mary, I appreciate you. Is it hard to keep the plot different working on a series? No, because I like if the characters are different enough, like even if the plot is almost identical to one that you've done before, it's gonna end up being different. Renee asked if I'm going to write more of the Finn the Paranormal. Yes, I'm actually going to be working on, I announced it earlier, I'm not sure if you're here. Claire from the Bewitching Hour is going to get her own series. And it's going to take place, at least partially, in New Orleans. So, that's happening. I'm not really sure what's going to be called yet. I'm not sure if it's going to come out super quick or if I'm going to take a break, because I'm at a breakneck pace right now. So I figure out if I can take a break or not. But that's going to happen. Did I think about mixing up a storyline or crossing over different genres? I thought about kind of like, oh, what if my paranormal series and my contemporary series are in the same worlds? But I feel like timelines would just get really complicated with that. But it's been in the back of my head, and I can't say it'll never happen. I can say that the paranormal series of Bad Boys of the Underworld and the Bewitching Hour will not cross over, because just the rules of those two paranormal series are too different. But I really wanted to, and I thought about ways to make it happen. It just didn't. How much thought do I put into a character before I start writing? Very little. Half the times I don't know their age. Half the time my editor will write down their age or their hair color, and then I'll make a mistake and she'll just yell at me in the comments. Yeah, it's kind of funny because when I have the characters in my head, I have so little description. I have so little like of the facts, but I know the character. Like I know the person. I know like their motivations. I always talk about most of my females. You either start weak and you get stronger, or you start off really strong and you learn how to be vulnerable. Like those are the two main story arcs that my heroines have. So I know them so well those ways, but when it comes to like if they have blue eyes, I always forget. Which is one of the nice things, which is when I've been trying to base the characters off celebrities lately and have like a model for them. So I don't know if that's normal or weird for a writer, but it's what I do. Um, Deborah asked if there's a genre that I'd like to try, but I haven't taken the leap yet. Yes, historical romance. I love reading historical romance. But I'm not a very detail-oriented person. There's so many details to get right. I feel like, I don't know. I'm never going to say never, but not anytime soon. I'll just be a fan from now on. Tiffany, you're worried you're overthinking. I'm always worried I'm underthinking mine. So I'm not sure if there is a perfect middle ground there. Nancy asked, how uncomfortable is it to read a review of my work, good and bad? I've only had a really solid review team for, I don't know, a year, a year or a few months. I don't know, but like, it's so nice that whenever like I'm having a low self-esteem day, Melody asked favorite historical romances. Elizabeth Hoyt. I love her. She's my favorite. She's my friend on Facebook. I remember meeting her in person. I got her autograph my first RUA. Oh, I love her. I love her so much. Sorry, I'm fangirling. But it's been so nice when I have releases and I'm feeling down on myself or if the numbers aren't good, I can go and read those reviews. Bad reviews don't bother me that much. I have so many reviews now. I don't actually pay attention when I get new reviews and it's not a release. Like, I used to check my review numbers all the time. Like, oh, hey, look, I have a new review on this book. How is it? The Cocky Thief, I just checked some reviews on that and I got some, I don't know, negative ones. One thought the heroine was too whiny. Jennifer was whiny. And I'm like, Jennifer's the farthest thing from whiny I can even think of. So I don't know. They don't really bother me that much because I'm pretty confident that I'm right and everyone else is wrong. And it's a really healthy way to live your life, right? But it can still hurt sometimes. And it depends on who's reading it too. Like, when one of my family members reads my books, I tell them I don't want to know they're reading it. I'm like, you tell me if you liked it, and if you don't like it, we'll never mention it again. So, yeah. What advice would I give someone just starting out in the writing world? Read a lot. Read a lot of current stuff. Make friends. Go into writing communities. Take all advice with a grain of salt, because there's a lot of bad advice. Beware of small presses if you're trying to sell your work. I recommend indie for almost everyone these days. I just know so few good stories of people who try to get traditionally published. How much money you can make being traditionally published, I don't know. I feel like that's a sad question to end on. Tiffany's giving me compliments in the comments. I like to hope my dialogue plays out well. The dialogue is, it's what I hear in my head. It's the stuff outside the dialogue where I'm like, oh, he said, she said, and like, oh, this is boring. But I just hear these two people having a conversation in my mind because I'm going crazy. Okay, I think that's it for now. I know someone was... What about the Kindle Worlds? What do you want to know about the Kindle Worlds? Do you know I'm writing in a Kindle World? I'm writing in a Kindle World for Melanie Shawn's Hope Falls series. It'll be my first Kindle World ever. And so each chapter is like a different day. I should have my cover for my Kindle World series or book soon. Oh, Melissa Storm. I love Melissa Storm, but she writes Christian romance. And so I decided, Melissa and I are pretty good friends, but I'm not writing in her Kindle World because she writes to a slightly different audience than I have. We have some overlap, obviously, but not all. And she had 100 different people offer to write in her Kindle World. So I told her, if you need me to write, I'll be there. But I have a pretty booked schedule. Nice. Okay. I think I got all the questions. If I missed a question, feel free to comment and yell at me, and I will make sure to answer it in my next video. Hopefully I'll do one sooner. I have a big fear of doing Facebook Live videos, so it took a while for me to like force myself into this. But I feel like it went good. I'm going to try to put this on YouTube too, so other people can see it as well. And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to comment in the group, and I will try to get to them soon. I have a few more giveaways to do tonight. I don't exactly know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do more giveaways. I have a lot of more Misfit copies to do. I have... Look at that. Beautiful Thief. It kills me. It kills me. It's my own fault, too. The cover designer gave me the photo when I approved it. No one to blame but myself. Okay, well, you guys all have a great night. I will see you on the internets, and I hope you all get a chance to read and enjoy The Dangerous Thief. Bye.